Heck, it's kind of funny. They get burning tires off, and I tell them, no, there's a trail that jumps in.
There's a lot in this world we don't agree on. I guarantee you, there's a lot at the Gold Rush.
You know I got to embarrass you one up just at the end of this thing, just to make sure. But you got to talk me through this. I don't know where the hell your hands going there.
Sat back there in the pits while you're working on the car, look up at the big screens.
You read my mind. Fans, we live in a land with freedom like no other.
Mark Elliott. And Parker Lazenby. Get ready. Lights, camera, action. Welcome to the premier broadcast home of Demolition Derby.
What's happening, Derby fans? WeCrashTV Derby Podcast. Here's episode number 31. You saw our YouTube there. You can like, subscribe, click it. And you saw our sponsor for tonight. It doesn't happen without Mr. Cody Knuth, 726 Customs. We got Dustin Anderson in the house tonight. What's happening, man?
Man, just excited to be back. Another great week.
Man, that's right. Another great week. We're coming off a hot last week. We had Team EPR on, and my face still hurts from laughing from that. That was a good time.
If only we could have aired all of it.
Yeah, right. That's right.
I'm just kidding. We aired it all. We did air it all.
That's right. It was PG-19, I think. But Dustin, man, hot in the world right now for me. Gosh, buddy, we went and picked up a cow of beef, quarter of beef, get stocked up for the year on Saturday, me and the wife. Man, I was sharpening lawnmower.
Some grill action.
That's right. I was sharpening lawnmower blades today, and you made me feel a little guilty when you was talking about all the snow you got, and I was working outside in a T-shirt getting ready for spring. But other than that, we had our grandkids this weekend. That was a blessing, and man, I'm geared up for Sturgis this coming weekend.
That's this week already.
With Wicked, yeah, doing some
in
announcing.
It now. We got Sturgis, we got spring next time. It's happening.
Oh, it's coming up, and I did see that. Out in New York, a lot of friends traveled there. Tabitha Rallier carrying the torch for her dad, Brett Rallier, the late Brett, also one of 4 drivers on Team SMW that won the Las Vegas team show. So always have Brett and that family in our hearts, but love to see Tabitha carrying on that. It's a big monster swap meet in New York, and I talked to Jeff Schumann of Jeffy's Fab Farm that was headed down there. But what's happening for you, man?
Man, I don't know. I went on another fishing trip. Surprise, surprise. And I don't know. I just saw the news that they posted about Gary Russell come out yesterday or this morning.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still tough news. I still haven't stopped thinking about the family and everybody down there, and everybody has been affected. But I mean, there was a glimmer of good news in the post that got put out. So, I guess. That was kind of my thing. I seen that, and I don't know. I shared it with a couple of people. Thought it was just good to see such a tough spot they've been in, and sounded like he was out of a coma now. But there's obviously a lot of hurdles still, but baby steps at this point.
Yeah, God bless that whole family and Lindsay, and just to think, like, if we could all have somebody in our corner that would fight for us like that when we don't have the strength to fight, man, that is such an inspiration. And I'll never forget that day. I was on the Derby Nation broadcast, and man, I saw it, and I just knew something wasn't right. And that just you bringing that up takes me right back to that day. But and you want to talk about a fighter. I'm a story guy. I pray that there's a day that he's joking around about it. And like any our guest tonight, we were kind of cracking before we got on about leave it to the Derby guy. I would not be surprised if one day Gary Russell was not back in a car. I would not be surprised.
That'd be absolutely amazing to see.
That would be. But speaking of, we got Neal Carey in the house tonight and representing Team Derbytees. And I had to pick my brain a little bit, and I'm thinking, man, I looked back at Gold Rush 24, which was basically all Wisconsin, and Neal, Collins, Steele, Bushinger. And then last year, 25, it was a mix of your neck of the woods, Minnesota, Sasha, Kish, and then we brought in some Canada of Troxler. But
to be fair, that's probably more my neck of the woods than the other ones.
Is it? And then
I'm not that far from up there.
And there's still, as Skin Dog would call him, Nasty Neal, the common denominator, coming off Capital City Carnage, back to that 2024 team: Collins, Steele, Bushinger, and Carey. I don't know what we learned tonight, but I think there's one thing for sure: you're going to get Neal Carey when you get Team Derbytees, and the rest is a big question mark, especially right now.
Exactly. Maybe we can fill in some holes for the 2026 rendition of Gold Rush for him.
Yep, and if not, then you've got to be at Gold Rush to find out, or you got to tune into WeCrashTV. That's how it is. But without further ado, because I can't wait to get him on and get him talking, we got Neal Carey representing Team Derbytees, and compliments of Mr. Sloan. We're going to send him into the broadcast right.
Let's welcome Neal Carey from Team Derbytees.
Ladies and gentlemen, Neal Carey in the flesh, the 67. Neal, what do you think about that video?
Pretty good. Brings back a lot of good memories out there.
Yes.
Lots of spent a lot of time. You think back initially, like, you're out there for a week, and then collectively over the years, you spent months of your life out there, and it's all good memories and great people. That's why you do it.
That's such a great point, Neal, because that is not just your average person's week. Your average person doesn't survive those weeks. It takes a special crowd, and you are in the mix, whether it's there. You're all over the place with Team Derbytees, man, and we kind of hit on it before we brought you on. Tell us about it, man. It's like where there's Team Derbytees, there's Neal, but then it's like you're not quite sure who else you're going to get.
Yeah. So kind of how it started, man, February, March timeframe at 23. I've known Chris Collins for years. I'll go down and run his county fair that he promotes, and keep him up to hours. And I met him he was 2 hours away, and I met him halfway at a Quick Trip gas station to exchange some parts after work one night, and we were both in kind of a rush. And then we were standing there. I mean, I think it was an hour before we realized that, oh man, we got to go. We got people at home waiting on us. But you know how it goes. You get to talking Derby, and all of a sudden an hour goes by.
Yeah.
Kicking tires.
We, the subject, that was when Gold Rush first got announced and talked about it, and kind of like, well, shit, if we could get some guys together. By the way, is this family friendly podcast, or do I need to watch it?
It's last week we went probably PG-19. We always try to keep it about PG-17, but no, you're good to go, man. The kids are usually in bed by the time we come on.
So we were just talking about a Derby and the premise of everything, and then Gold Rush, and we're like, well, maybe we could find some guys and put a team together and go out there. First year show, go support it. Never been out that part of South Dakota, so what the hell. And so we did. Called up Nate, Trevor, and before you know it, I had never built a mod before, so they had
really.
Yeah, that was my first year building a mod in 23.
Wow.
I'd only built like 2 super stock or street stock, whatever you want to call them, type build cars before that. Because I've only been really derbying for like 8-9 years, and the first couple of years was just like a car a year, chain car type stuff. I got into derby really late, as you could tell. And they took a huge chance on me. Obviously never building the mod, never really running a big show, national stage like that. And that's kind of how I got my start into the Derbytees realm, if you will. Team Derbytees, I should say.
Man, that's fascinating. And that's why this is like the gift that keeps on giving, because, Dustin and I talked before you actually joined, and, he shared that he had crossed paths with you a little bit, but not enough to know a lot about you. And I shared that I didn't know much of anything about you, but you've always been somebody that is, I'm always on the go. I'm on a beeline, so I don't talk to a lot of people, but you and I have always said hello in passing, but that's about it. And wow, man. So to go from, what you're calling chain and wire, over the course of, say, 5 to 6 years, likely, is it fair to say county fair?
Oh, yeah.
Level?
I mean, up until Gold Rush, the biggest show I'd ran in was John Mavis's Memorial Madness.
Yeah.
A couple of years at Jim Falls, and then it moved to Cannon Falls, which is about 15 minutes from where I live now. I ran some street stock singles, some team chain shows with Rich Melton on our kind of, I guess it's our chain team, and we're a good group of friends. We run a show a year usually. And Daryl Ewing usually sponsors us with Ewing Engines on that team, and he actually ran with us last year at that show. So yeah, talking about I think the first time I met you, actually, it was like the elevator ride up after I think he won the first year at Gold Rush, and just introduced myself. And
yes,
never met you before. And obviously I still meet new people all the time. That's what I love about the Derby community. Just the people we meet, and, everybody, a lot of different backgrounds, but we all have one common interest in cars and demolition derby, and the camaraderie that comes with it is what I enjoy the most.
Amen. And I need people like you crossing paths with me, because 100 other elevator rides, I'm staring at the wall, and I never know who knows me or who don't, but I damn sure don't think everybody knows me. So like the fact that you kind of started that conversation, I know exactly what you're talking about, but this is meant to be a compliment. Perception is our reality. And if I never would have guessed that that's no more experience that you had, that's the first time I recall getting to watch you run. And at no time did I think, man, where'd they pick this clown up at? He must be a county fair guy. I didn't think that at all. So kudos to you, which, gosh, it just goes back to, man, I swear it's like when you grab that steering wheel, you either understand demolition derby or you don't. It's either for you or it's not. And I love to hear that there's a local guy, Frank Napier, and he says, Mark, I wish I would have found this earlier in my life, but it's like never too late. And I'm glad that you found it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was 32 years old when I ran my first car at my local county fair. And I had, so let's rewind it to I was 13 or 14 years old. My brother's best friend, they built a couple cars. It was a 69 Plymouth Fury 3 and like a 77 Lincoln Mark 8, or, one of them 2 doors with the big trunk on it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mark 5.
I went with them, helped them with the cars, went with them it was in a town called Cahokia, because I'm originally from Missouri. I've transplanted to Minnesota, been up here for about 10 years because I've worked for the same company for almost 21 years and in a corporate realm, and have moved a lot for work and have settled here for the last 10 years. But sorry, I get kind of sidetracked with stories sometimes, but
that's okay.
But we went to this Derby, Cahokia, Missouri county fair, heats, Consi feature, helped work on the cars. Of course, I was only 13 or 14, didn't get to partake in the whole, the after party type stuff, but it was still cool to be there and experience it. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. But, at the time I was obviously still in school. I was focused on getting my Eagle Scout and playing football. And that's kind of what was taking up my life. And then obviously college and then work, and then would always go if I had a chance. Like every time I've lived in Kansas City, Missouri is where I'm from, and Omaha, Nebraska, the Quad Cities, and now here. And anywhere I lived, I would always weekend, I didn't have anything. I would always try to go find a local county fair to go watch. Now looking back, going to some of those shows, 10, 15 years ago, I recognize some of the names I used to see at those fairs that now run bigger shows, which is cool.
That is cool.
Definitely. That's awesome.
I was driving home from work one day, and I was kind of taking a lap around the neighborhood, whatever had turned in. Someone was blocking the way, and I seen a guy had what I thought was a derby motor in his garage, and it was. I walked up and introduced him to myself. This is like a Tuesday, and he's my neighbor. He lives 5 houses down, and I lived there for 8 months and didn't. And it was kind of catty corner around the corner, so I can't see his house. And walked up, introducing myself, and we talked in his driveway for an hour and a half, and that's like a Tuesday. And then my first big show to go to was it was Bluegrass Bash 17 when was it Barry Clemens and Dave Meyer went nose to nose?
Yes, the first year that we had Derby Icons on Friday night, and they hit, and literally, like, you see the picture and you think, wow, they must have hit at 45 mile an hour. But no, you remember that track was so tacky. There was cars rolling over that night, which we had never had at Freedom Hall. It was always a shit track before that. So that was a change of pace. And when they hit, man, they climbed each other like a tree. That was so awesome. Yeah, and you were there.
I got to and I'll tell, and I still see that video ever pop up in a reel once in a while. It was just cool to, hey, man, I was there for that one. And then, so, went down there and got to kind of see the behind the scenes. And then I think a month later was Spring X17 when it rained like 28 inches. And
I was there. Oh, it was terrible.
I mean,
it was so bad.
I played in 6 inches of water in Weldon, and I'm like, you're braver than I am. And bought a truckload of parts that weekend and tire set up and built the car for later that summer. And obviously the rest is history. I said I'd never run mods or do anything like that. Just buy and build one chain car a year, and then did that for like the first 4 years. Yeah, 17. Yeah, maybe 5 really. And then 21, 22, I was building 4 or 5 a year, more setups, more motors, and obviously, kind of got into the gold rush and the mods, and the rest is history. That's kind of the backstory on me. Just kind of showed up out of nowhere, really.
Well,
I dig that. I like the accelerate, like how it accelerated so fast. You made up for a lot of lost time. Just foot to the floor here.
Well, I do have to say this. I've had a lot of great people, and it's too many to sit here and name, that have given me tips, pointers, tricks, all the inside stuff. They're not going to give you everything. You got to learn some stuff on your own. But that has been a tremendous, help in my career. And I'm the type of person I want to do better. I want to win. And when you take a car, okay, well, maybe we don't do that this time. Learn that the hard way. You're going to have those moments, and you still have those, right? And you're going
every time. And even after you win, sometimes it's like the car might not have performed the way you want it to. Before that's going to be fun to get into. But before we go, I got to know 2 things. Can we blame Chris Collins for you going from chain and wire to mod? And who was the neighbor guy? Have you ever talked to him since then? Or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll answer your first question. So yes, you have Chris Collins to blame for getting me into mods, because I still remember building that car. So you got to think, when I built out of a 2-car garage, no lift, jacks, blocks, limited amount of tools, none of that stuff. So it's hard enough building the chain car, and then let alone building the mod car with the body on in the garage, taking it up, lift, just. And I sent him a Snapchat, and we actually just talked about this yesterday when we were talking on the phone. I said, "You still remember that Snapchat I sent you of my car in the garage? It said it was my first car and my last mod car." Because I was like, this isn't even fun. Much work never ends. And then
I remember coming and talking to you, and I didn't know you very well. And I come over and I talked to Trevor. I knew Trevor a little bit, and then we ended up talking a little. And I remember looking at your car, and I felt you were underbuilt, first year Gold Rush, 100%. You knew it. And, yeah, and you were kind of feeling it, and I didn't know it was your first one, and I'm pretty sure you did tell me, like, "Well, this is my first mod car." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, that's a step. That's we're going all in. I like it.
100%. Yeah, and to the building the mod car, again, getting back to the people that helped me, they know who they are, and thank you. And they're people I consider great friends and mentors. So that's really what I like about it is the people in that aspect of it. But to answer your second question, yeah, my neighbor is Brian Foss. We both since moved. We still live in the same town, Farmington. We lived in Apple Valley before, but we live in the same town now. And he's in the trucking industry as well. So we had that connection, the Derby, but yeah, they were, and then obviously got to know them, and we did things as couples with them and us. And, it's just, and then he obviously went to high school with Mike Tix. So I got to meet Mike Tix. Is like the second person ever I met in Demolition Derby. And,
I'm sorry.
And it's just kind of like the way, like, you meet people, then like it never ends. Like, this person, kind of like a coaching tree, in football. Well, kind of you got the same thing in Demolition Derby and people's camps and all this other stuff. So, and Joe Bauer, he's a local guy here, runs the county fair every year. I kind of pseudo helped him down at the Freedom Hall show in 7.
Yeah.
Really know what I was doing, or what to do. I'd swing a sledgehammer. That's pretty easy. And drink a lot of beer, but, so, and getting to meet people like that and establishing those friendships over the years is just the coolest thing ever, I think.
I'm glad you went there, because Derby, if you're paying attention to the wrong things, it gets a bad rap, but everything you just named is the thing that most people love about it. I forget exactly your verbiage, but it's like this person leads to this person, leads to this person. And it's like the gift that keeps on giving of these great people that no matter where you're at in the right place at the right time, they would do anything for you. I mean, I go way back with Mike, and way back, he's getting ready to go run Arkansas. I saw he was getting his car painted here a few days ago, maybe, or yesterday, but where he's going, what started, I remember when that Derby started back in 2010, the Razorback Rumble. So he's trying to bring some of that back with Jeff Palmer and them. But you really got in at a pretty good time, because, you know, if you said I've been derbying for 29 years, then you were a part of a time where if you so much as crawled under somebody's car, you might get kicked in the ribs, where, you know, in the last 10 years, people, you know, are more willing to share. It's kind of the mentality that, like, here's what I got. You're going to have to beat me behind the wheel. It's not just going to be you having my parts for you to beat me. You're going to have to outdrive me. So drivers do share a lot more today and over the last 10 years than maybe 20 to 30 years ago.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the door, opening the door. So obviously I go down there to Spring X or Freedom Hall, then we go to Spring X. And then about the third, maybe fourth person I meet in the Derby world is actually Nate Steele.
Really?
Running a car down there, you know, and helped him work on his car. You know, it's pouring rain. He's the guy that was sitting there welding in the water. I'm like, man. But, you know, and then consequently, you know, I talk, you know, and it usually ends up, oh, you need this, or you meet this guy, you get his phone number, you need this part, and then you guys strike up a conversation, it leads to a friendship. You know, you're talking about, I think you were buying a quarter beef. You know, I get beef every year from Nate, because he runs a farm up in Wisconsin, up in Frederick, and little bit of a plug. If you need some beef and you're in Wisconsin, get a hold of Nate. It's
Heck yeah.
And you know, and actually I was thinking about the other day of all the people I've met, and not just Gold Rush, but county fairs, other shows. I've probably got more on track time with Nate than anybody.
Really?
Yeah, which is
That's cool.
You know, and you know, his boys Derek and Dylan, they come. We have a 3-night county fair at my hometown show in Dakota County. It's 80s stock build. It's fun. They come down on Thursday. We work, and now that I have an acreage with the shop, I'm not on a 2-car garage, but they come and stay here. We work on our cars like it's a 3-day show, and it's the fun of grill out food, and you know, it's just that's what I love about it.
I have heard of that.
The friendship stuff.
Yep.
I've heard of that, Dakota County, and I think I've heard Tix talk about it. But take us back to Gold Rush 25. What was it like being on that track, on that stage without Nate?
You know, I mean, it's a derby, right? And anything can happen. Mistakes, mechanical failure, a call that does or doesn't go your way. And you just got to get that out of your mind. You know, I knew going in, we had solid guys, solid gear. And what I love about the format is the heads up. It removes the politics from it, because we all know there's politics in big features. It's just, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? That's what it is.
100%.
But it turns into what you just said, heads up, and you know, who doesn't have a failure and who makes the least amount of mistakes. And you know, at the end of the day, just go out there and drive your ass off and do the best you can, you know, because at the end, we all want to win, but it is just a derby, and we're all going to have some beers afterwards. You know, that's, I mean, you know, I don't get razzed up about too much anything in life in general, but you know, I just love Demolition Derby, and sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug.
That is never truer words, and I wish back when I was running I was that smart, because I was not. And if it's like I got to this place, it was not a good place for me. where if things didn't go the way that I wanted them to, like I mean, not literally, I'm looking for a lake to drive that car in. Like I just had trouble accepting that. I'm much more mature today in my wisdom, but you really do have to figure out how to lose to be able to really win. So if Collins went to XP,
Mm-hmm.
and you now had Sasha, Kish, and Troxler to make up Team Derbytees with you, what I don't recall, was Steele and Bushinger at Gold Rush 25 on another team as well, or not there at all?
They couldn't come. Stuff going on, what happened, and couldn't make it. Totally understandable. I'm never going to hold or anybody, because Derby is fun. Derby's a hobby, but life and work take precedence to that, right? Because you got
Amen.
Yep.
for your family, and totally understandable situation. And at the end of the day, I just wanted to go out in Derby. I enjoy that show out there. I enjoy going out there. It's a long drive, but smooth. It's literally about a left, a right, and then you're at Rapid City, South Dakota for me. So
That's a long ways down I-90 though.
out there, spent a lot of time talking on the phone to guys that you're going to be hanging out with for the next week, that you're on the phone for an hour at a time here and there, talking about a whole lot of nothing, usually bullshitting, but and we got the team, and Mark was gracious enough to sponsor us again. We got the heat draw that I did not want to draw. Heat.
All three.
But it was the most risk with also the most reward. We came out on top on that heat, fortunately. I mean, it could have gone the other way. It's just as fast as it went our way, too. And you always got to think of stuff like that, too. And then we squared off against XP. Obviously, we lost that heat. I lost a broken output shaft. I don't know. And I actually called Nate right after. I said, "You've been derbying, 20, 25 years. You ever seen an output shaft break on a turbo 400 short tail?" And he's like, "Never."
Yeah, I've seen like one.
Yeah, it's just one of them things. I had two things happen like that last year that I've only heard of one other person happening to, but it's derbying.
I think that might come down to when they get drilled out, there might have been an imperfection in there, and when you drilled in to tap it, if it wasn't one that was already tapped or something, could have been the smallest imperfection, and you just catch it.
It broke probably, I don't know, an inch past the yoke, and it just was a straight shear, so probably a stress factor. Because that motor and transmission I put together before Gold Rush 2023, a Collier 3-stroker and a 400 from a local builder, and that ran 23, 24, and 25 as a complete unit. It just went from one car to the next.
Well, that's a testament in itself.
Yeah. So at 3 years with the same transmission and a mod car, I mean, you can't be mad. It was bound to happen at some point, but it was just totally unexpected.
So the case, the tail shaft did not break, just the output shaft. Is that what I'm hearing?
About, I don't know, it's probably that's got to be a solid 1.25 inch and a half diameter.
Yep.
Was it still bolted to the drive shaft, and it literally broke off right at the end of the drive shaft?
Because when they lifted my car up, the yoke and front slider portion came right out, and they tossed that in the car. Then the slider was just hanging from the rear gear there. So,
and the shaft was still bolted to the drive shaft.
Yep.
Essentially.
Still bolted to the yoke and everything.
Freaking Derbying, man. If it can happen, it will.
What happened? But what are you going to do? And then, obviously XP, awesome guys. They're all 2 hours from me any way you cut it. And hats to them. They won it all. And, and try again next year, and it was like we all talked before, we're all local. We all run against each other. And I said, hey, after the photo or after the heat, I want to photo with everybody because, that's the memory you get.
I remember that taken. Yep.
So, and we did.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, because you won, I'm taking myself back, because you won the three-way heat with Gray Area and Overruled, you skipped the next round, correct? And went straight into what would have been XP's third run to Derby. I got you.
Straight to finals.
Well, you seem like a really intelligent guy.
That's debatable.
No, man. I mean that. And I like when I feel like everybody else in the room's smarter than me. And I know Dustin's smarter than me.
Lies.
This is something, if only we could have had headsets and you guys could have educated me. And I'm just me being transparent and real with you, real with myself and real with you. I struggled, and Dustin can vouch whenever I did, and I was real on camera about it. Help me understand when Derbytees and Not for Hire, like how did it come to that decision that you guys, was it you that pulled on the track? I don't recall. 2 cars pulled on the track, hit the rock, and then basically like split third and fourth or flipped. I don't know what, but help me understand like how that call was made.
So we looked at our cars. Obviously, XP was a brutal heat. We took 2 pointies to 2 timing chains. So there was 2 motors that have to get pulled. I was obviously going to have to pull my motor.
For the trans.
We had 1 spare transmission that was loose, and then we had a spare motor and all hooked up, ready to go. And we're like, okay, we might get 2 cars together. And, Not for Hire was in the same boat. That was, I believe Devin said, a very gangster heat against CPI, which it was. That was just an absolute bloodbath in and of itself.
Chaos.
Was chaos. Yeah. Sorry.
Chaos.
Apologies. And
kind of the same.
Same thing. They had 2 motors down, transmission down. And I mean, at the end of the week, it's like, well, how much effort do we really want to do? I know it wasn't the most popular decision with some people, but it's at the end of the day, that was our spot. That's what we did. And let's face it, big show. Nobody remembers who finishes 3rd or 4th. Everybody remembers who wins.
That's what I was just real with the team because
and to be clear, it wasn't just something we did. We talked to Sam about it and said, hey,
yeah,
trying to, screw the show, but here's the reality of the situation,
And I think they were even worse off than you guys as far as like engines and
they had cars were going down in the front. Some of them were, it was just, and this is Friday night into Saturday, and you've been there for 6 days and you're shot. It's like,
well,
shit.
I had to get real with the team and real with myself because like I couldn't wipe it off my face. I didn't understand. And Sam did tell us, Dustin's laughing because he knows, like, I'm not the guy that if I think something, I can't pretend like I got to know. I'm just hyper curious. And Parker said almost verbatim the exact words you just said, like basically like it's 3rd and 4th mark. Like, is it really a big deal? And I'm like, okay, like that's what I needed to hear. I get it. But I also had to, especially since then, and as I've reflected on it, to suspend judgment. But number one, I've never ran a team show that you got to work on cars for 4 and 5 days in a row. So I've never been there. So I don't even know what that means to be in that situation and be like, whoa, are we going to do this for third and fourth? And like, even starting out this podcast, I heard you talk about Daryl and like sponsoring you guys, and like out there, you guys are all such good friends. I mean, you know, you guys are out there. Like one car, I think, even had to be pushed out there. If I remember, yeah.
Because I was the only car that could actually move. So
Yeah.
Daryl just pushed me out, and that's what we did. And, loaded them up, and then we got to watch the rest of the show and try again for next year,
Yeah, that's all you can do. Wash your hands and move on.
And go back to the drawing board on Monday when you get back.
Well, I appreciate you shooting me straight there, because like I even thought about it before this podcast, especially because I'm a guy that cares what people think, whether I want to be or not. For the people that live out there that don't give a piss what anybody thinks, more power to you. That ain't me. So, as I've reflected on that since then and understood better, I wondered, like, man, I wonder if they watched that broadcast back and was like, damn, Mark, what the hell? Like, what's your deal? But I can't, if there's a billboard on my forehead, and that's why Dustin's laughing, because there was no shutting it off for me. I had to know.
I was kind of in the middle on it.
I
was kind of in the middle. I'm like, man, I just don't like it. And Parker's like, who cares? It's third and fourth. And Mark is over there and he's just steaming. He's just like, I'm just too competitive. I can never do. I remember being in the moment. You were super worked up about it. You were more worked up than Neal was. Neal was just happy to be done with the night.
Yeah.
and I got kudos to Sam. We told him straight up, like right after the show, I called him. He was still up I think he was up in the
very top
booth.
Production. Yep.
Yeah, that's what it was. And he said, I'll be down. So we went to the pit party, and us and Not for Hire said, hey, here's what we want to do. If you're not cool with it, well, then we'll do something different. But this is what we're thinking. And that's where we came up with it. And that's what we did. And because my main concern was like, well, Sam's got a show, a production schedule, and this is 40 minutes of his time. And they're not trying to, you got to try to consider all factors, right? And not just for us, and try to look at the big picture. So that's what happened. There was no bones or secrets about it. We did a coin toss, and that's what it was.
Who won the coin toss? I don't know if I ever knew.
We won. Derbytees won the coin toss. So
yeah.
Yeah, but we did use I don't know. It was a Canadian coin because Devin had it with it. So that was.
Oh no!
I can't remember the name of the currency, but that's what we used.
That's the fun stuff that the people, not the people in the stands, they don't always get to hear that fun stuff. So no doubt we'll talk about that in the future sometime. But you're right, man. It's Sam's show, and the fact that he is so open to. Because everything's not always black and white, and you do got to make some game time decisions. And the fact that he was cool with that, and you guys were cool with it, that's all that matters. So kudos to him.
So you're still should be in recovery mode. You just got back from Carnage, brought back kind of the original team again. How was Carnage for you? I mean, you guys got second.
So
long feet.
It's a blast. The last time I ran there was, because take you back to 23, I ran Gold Rush mods for the first time ever in 23. And then I came home and I picked up my street stock weld car and went to Blizzard Bash, ran street stock weld teams. That's when it was back to back that year. Got home on and left on a Tuesday, I believe, afternoon. I can't remember, but I had to come home and finish my other car a little bit too, because my good friend Rich Melton helped me out a lot on that build and getting the frame done so I could come back and just, put everything together and go and run on Team NLR with street stock weld. But I've never actually ran Capital, and we kind of hitched this plan. I don't know, it was late January when a team dropped and Trevor was on the waiting list. He called me up, said we're running Capel. I'm like, thanks. At all.
Happy spring.
Yeah, obviously, it's not a crazy build. Got a card. Actually found one that was already started, so that saved me 2 weeks right out the gate. And consequently from one of the teams that dropped, and went down there. And honestly, you mentioned catching up after running Gold Rush the last 3 years. 2-3 day shows walk in the park. I mean, we came out of the heat looking good. You're fixing it once. And honestly, Collins and I were talking about it. It went by in a blink of an eye. I got there Wednesday night, and I was home Sunday by 2:00. So it was a short turn for a big derby, but good time down there. Great people. Got to derby against some new people I had never derbied against in the feature, which was cool on itself. And obviously met some new people. Drew a heat against some folks that great people, hell of a drivers, Team Panda Man, and had a blast down there. And it's just, again, goes back to the people, right?
Yeah.
Back to that.
Panda Man team, they're easy people to get along with. They like having a little beer flowing.
Yeah, we had a few.
North Dakota will do that to you. It's like about the same as Wisconsin.
What's that?
North Dakotans will do that to you. It's about the same as Wisconsin when it comes to drinking.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can beat Wisconsin though, man. And I think they can United States on and win.
Isn't that fascinating though, Neal? You and Chris were joking about, wow, this feels almost like you're on vacation compared to a 4 or 5 day derby.
And we were down there. We had an absolute army of people, and actually I got an Octane hat on. All them guys were there helping us, partying with us, partying with them. And just had an army of people in the pits, and that's what makes it fun, and got everything together. And the weather was that big rainstorm came through, and it got cold, and then it was really windy, but we got them done and had a lot of fun doing it.
That's awesome. When are we going to find out what 26 looks like for Gold Rush? Like the mystery. It's Neal plus question mark. Still
kind of working through that right now. And I don't have a, it's going to be quick, because obviously we're going, we're not dropping.
Yes.
And already talked to Mark. He's good, gracious enough to sponsor us again. He's a great sponsor, a great guy. Really,
agreed.
He's all in the derby world. Obviously, that's his bread. His bread and butter with both his businesses. And props to him for doing that and sponsoring us. But we'll probably have a line up here pretty quickly. I know we're still kind of working through the mod team rules as a group of captains. We've got a draft out, and I'm guessing that'll probably get stitched up here in the next week or two, and then go from there.
Are you the captain of Derbytees?
Yeah, so I took over the captain spot last year. I was the captain last year and be the captain again this year.
So was Chris captain in 23, and then he went to XP?
Yeah, Chris was the captain when we started in 23, and then when he went to XP last year, I took the captain spot because I still wanted to go. And a couple other guys couldn't, and for the right reasons. So
yeah,
I get
good for you.
Oh, and that's the one thing, I don't feed into the drama and stuff like that. A lot of people ask, "Ooh, this, ooh, that." It's like, man, life happens, and this is a huge, huge commitment. I look at it as it's a 3-month commitment from the time you buy a car, start building it, prepping, parts, packing, the whole trip. You got to be all in on it, and that's the way I look at it, because I take it serious, right? I'm not just going out there just to goof off. We want to have fun, but we also want to compete, and it's a big level, big stage, and some of the probably the best guys in the game at that show again this year. I mean, the stakes are even higher, payouts higher, 12 teams, 12 solid teams. And, I was actually thinking about what you had said, Dustin, about you think somebody from the top four is going to come in the long way. That's a long road because you get no days off and you got to fix your car 4 times and run 5 to get to win, but 4 times to get third or fourth. If I'm not mistaken how the bracket is set up.
You're correct.
That's but that long-winded dissertation answer to you. I'm working through that right now, but we will have a team, and Team Derbytees will be there. And again, Neal Carey will be there. Team Derbytees.
Yes.
I just knew Neal was going to keep the cards close to the vest. I mean, you could at least let Bushinger out of the way. Jeez. So, from a personal standpoint, you said you're kind of in the corporate world, and everybody else that we've been doing this now for the last few weeks, and a lot of different walks of life, and you're in the corporate side of things. What kind of comments and stuff do you get from work? Like trying to explain to people, how big of idiots we really are, but yet we're not idiots.
And a matter of fact, I had that same conversation. So I manage a facility that 120 people work at in the Twin Cities. We're a nationwide trucking company, and I, in my role, obviously, my boss is a regional vice president of this Midwest region, and then the next step above him is all the executives, and they were all here last summer for the National Truck Driving Championships that were hosted in Minneapolis, and we had guys competing from several states, so we go to their sport. And we're having that conversation. And I said, let's face it, it is a redneck sport, where you want to call it. I'm a redneck. I'll tell you that right now. But I said, I'd say probably the smartest people that I have met build and run demolition derby cars. When you think about the engineering, the thought process behind it, even down to metallurgy, let's take a small block Chevy, let's put it in a cradle, let's put 50 tons of pressure on it, let's push this frame rail out here, let's do this, let's do that. It's just wild to me, and I think it's cooler than hell because I'm not that smart. Like I can put a motor in a cradle, but I'm not your guy that's going to build a motor or build a transmission or build a rear end. I can wrench, but I'm not that smart. And I explained this to them, that it's not just go out there and crash a car. I mean, there are, you got your MWFA, your chain classes, yep. But even chain cars, I mean, the amount of prep that goes into that, if you want to get it to go the right way, especially with the rear end, and, if you don't want to put too much pressure, you don't want to break the stock case and transmission, and then you get into, a street stock build and then mod builds, and just the thought process, because I always tell people, like, well, you can make this hard, but that pressure is going to come out somewhere. Where do you want it to come out?
Yep.
And people that at work, they've actually come and watched demolition derbies. People that I know across the country, I'll send them like a quick, if it's on YouTube, somebody posts one, I can forward it to them. Like, hey, here's what I did a couple weeks ago, and we ran, and they just think it's the craziest, coolest stuff.
Yeah.
You don't hear about it, and I just think it's the coolest ever. And, but a lot of people, I mean, obviously I've been at this facility for 10 years, so everybody knows I do it. And, it's fun, and they know that that's my hobby, and they ask about it. Cause I keep a couple, it's actually a really good conversation starter. I got a couple, we got these really, silhouette made out of like some 1/8-inch trophy hang on the wall. Really cool. I put a couple in my office, and it's always an awesome conversation starter when we have a vendor or a customer come doing a facility tour or whatnot, and I got a couple pictures with the winning cars, so it's just a good conversation starter,
Man.
They start asking questions. I could sit here and talk demolition derby all day, but I am at work.
I guarantee you could. And we talked before we actually started tonight about we won't rat you out, but how you had to hold your camera up, and we joked about like leave it to a Derby driver to figure it out, any means necessary. But I truly believe Derby drivers and builders that at a certain level, when you're motor swapping and you're doing all these things. Well, let me just take that out of the picture. Derby drivers in general, we are on a different frequency. And when you go, whether it's in the corporate world or just at work in general, and you're around a bunch of non-Derby people, a lot of those people aren't willing to go through the depths of hell that we are to accomplish a goal. And a goal for us in Derby is getting to the next round or the feature or whatever that, or even putting the 4 tires on the track. You said it. What a commitment. And I always point that out. What a commitment. So to see somebody like Sam in Ultimate Derby, no entry fee for you guys in that team. When he said that, I had to ask again, like, seriously? Like, I don't know that I've heard of that, but I've always joked. I'm not a promoter, but I've always joked and said, like, the hell that drivers go through to put 4 tires on the track, whether it's 3 flats on the way there or they got their ass kicked the entire build, the hell that they go through to put those 4 tires on your track, and you charge them $60 to put those 4 tires on the track for an entry fee. Like, so I love seeing, whether anybody else does it, I love seeing Sam do that now, and I hope more people follow or model their business in a way that they can follow, because what a commitment it is. And there is nothing that any of us 3 or anybody wouldn't do to put another car on the track or get ready for a feature and you don't always find that out there in the business world. People don't always, it's like a different frequency, the animal that you have to be to compete in Demolition Derby.
I was having a conversation about that with somebody that I kind of gave them an example of, something that happened and somebody needed something. And it was I can't remember if it was a rear end or a transmission or something. They needed it like right away. I said, well, I'm not at home. It's in my shop. Just let me know you get there. I can open it from my phone. You can grab it and go. And they're like, you never met that person. They're just going to walk into your shop and grab something. Like, that's just how this community works, because, and the way I look at it, what goes around comes around. Like, someday I'm going to need a part somewhere, and I don't want to be that guy, so I always try to help out people, whether it's parts, time, because, like Daryl, I've known Daryl for 5 years now. We couldn't work on our cars Friday because you only got 2 out of 3 days when we skipped the round. Mm-hmm. And I was over at his place Friday morning helping put a clip on his car, because it just got absolutely ripped off.
Yes.
That's the kind of stuff that, man, I someday I'm going to be in that position. I know I am. I'm going to have, the front of my car missing and need all hands on deck to get it put back together and get out there. And the way I look at it, but what I was getting at is you get what you put in out of this sport.
Yes. Kid Rock said it. You get what you put in, and people get what they deserve. And I truly believe in that in life, whether it's Derby or at work or with your family. The effort that we put in comes back to us. And it's either good or bad. There ain't much in between.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but for the rest of the time, it's all about what you put in to whatever you're doing. 100% agreed.
Yeah,
so, and kind of like Neal and mowing his lawn.
Oh yeah, I was actually. Yeah, I'm actually kind of mad because it was 60 degrees earlier this week and all our snow's melted. Now we got like a foot with 3-4 foot drifts out there. And Mark, if you don't know, I like to. I live on 5 acres and I mow about 2.5, 3 of it. but I get it. I get real meticulous with the striping, cross hatches, and then
Well,
and then it's all a nice pattern, and I have to do an obligatory Snapchat story.
You and Mark are blood brothers because he has a smaller yard, but he does the same thing.
Yeah.
Dustin ratted you out earlier, and I got a kick out of it because, I mean, my family's like, "Are you cool if we walk in the yard? Like there could be a footprint in it." And like the neighborhood kids, they used to ride their bike through the one corner, and I was that guy that was out there like I was ready to put up a fence. But no, I had a tow truck or a plow truck got stuck in my yard. And it's the same damn plow truck that plows our business, which is 25 minutes away, and does landscaping at our business. So I knew the owner, and I called him like, "Hey, you got a truck in my yard?" And he's like, why are they out there? And so I probably got somebody in trouble, but they destroyed part of my yard. So Dustin said he got all this snow, and it sounded like you got hammered too. I was out there in a t-shirt today, raking gravel out of the yard and filling in the tire tracks today and planting grass seed. It was like 60 degrees here today.
Talk about
I just go ahead.
You talk about the gravel and the grass because the snow was finally all gone after we got
Yes.
over. And I was, unpacking, cleaning up. It's a nice 60-degree day. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be mowing season. I'm like, I need to get this. And I'm really particular when I plow too. I don't like push all the way over, so I don't have a ton of gravel in the grass in the back.
Yeah.
And I'm going to learn from that mistake this year. This is my first year. We bought a farm this fall, and I got 7 acres too. And that first time it snowed, I just kind of let her fly, and now the snows had melted, and I'm like, I'm going to buy that attachment for the Milwaukee, so you can just sit there and go up and down the driveway and push all them rocks back in the yard or on the road.
Because I have smaller gravel, I've got a Stihl backpack blower. That works way better than the house, and it doesn't rip up your grass and dethatch it and mess all that up too.
Dude,
well, I got an old farmyard. It's going to take me a few years to get it dialed like yours. We're going to work on dandelions and getting everything I seeded last year going. We'll get to the striping factor in a couple years.
Yeah. And for Mark, I don't actually have a striper on my zero turn. It's all I mulch and make sure blades are really sharp and do those about once a month and just go slow. And
I just remember adding you on Snapchat because I think it was about the time that you were getting that car or whatever that here in North Dakota. And then I'm like, oh, this guy likes his yard. I respect that.
Yep. I probably consider myself a psychopath when it comes to other in a car. It's the most fun, satisfying thing you can do. It's mindless work, and all you got to do is just sit on the mower and make a nice straight line. It's and then obviously when you edge too, just I don't know, it looks good. I just take a lot of pride in it.
I can you're speaking my language. Dustin, remind me because I'll forget whenever we have Santel on here. Remind me to bring up his opinion on a yard.
I can guess it's about 180 from what we're talking about. He's got the Derby guy yard. I can only imagine. You don't use the lawnmower, you use the weed whipper, and then put a hood on the rest of the yard. It'll be okay.
Yeah, remind me to bring that up. But Neal, dude, you have been a breath of fresh air, man. I know I can say it, and Dustin, I know that you agree. For not knowing you any better than either one of us did. And you said it about 3 or 4 times when you get to talking to people. It's about an hour. Well, we're at about an hour, and there ain't no doubt we could do this again. So maybe we will once we get into the summer and get closer to Gold Rush. I'd love to have you back on, man. You've been entertaining, and it's great to learn so much about you. So,
well, I thank you for your time, and absolutely would love to jump back on. And then because I know my poor girlfriend, like if it's not work related or this, it's demolition derby or phone calls or
yeah.
I love talking about it. Like I bet you I was on the phone for 3 different people for an hour and a half last night, all Derby guys just talking about this, that, or the other, so, but I would love to jump back on if you'd have me, and appreciate you guys inviting me on.
Absolutely, man. And just stay tuned, because in our world, we never know what Sam's going to announce next. So just keep paying attention, and there'll be more to come, I'm sure. But we wish you hopefully all that snow gets melted. And, now that I know you're a yard guy, I'll probably shoot you a message here in the spring.
I'll send you pictures once I get all 4 directional stripes in on after that 4th mow, and you'll be like, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Neal, thanks for coming on, man. You have a blessed rest. Actually, it's going to be a blessed week ahead, and hopefully we get to talk to you soon. And we look forward to learning who the rest of Team Derbytees is for the Gold Rush Nationals 2026. Thanks, Neal.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night.
Yep. We'll see you, Neal.
Later. That was fun.
Another good one.
Dude, I
knew he'd be great.
They never disappoint. I didn't. I never know if they're talkative or if they're not, but I guess I should have probably thought, since he's a guy that has actually said hello to me more than once when I am usually on a beeline and looking through the blinders. There's probably more people out there that thinks like, what an asshole, like I just walked by, but I'm on the go. So I need people like him to stop being and holler at me, because I don't mean any disrespect by it. But Dustin, man, it was another good one. In Team Derbytees, it sounds like we're going to have to wait to learn who's coming, but it didn't sound like he would have been bothered, no matter whether it was any of those 7 or if there's somebody new that we don't know about yet.
I'm going to guess it's going to be a mixture of both, but we'll wait and find out.
Yeah. I would, if I was betting, man, I'd bet on Collins being back with XP, coming off championship.
Yep,
makes perfect sense.
Yep.
And there was not a dead spot in that, man. He did such a great job of, not even having to ask him questions to get him to talk. We could have did that for another 2 hours.
Well, that's the way she goes, in a good way.
Yeah, it was a good way.
This week, she's been laying next to me the whole time.
Yeah, that's a good dog. And looking out at the week or near future for you, you're in the ice fish house. You're going to be headed up to the Lake of the Woods here yet this season to hang out with Mr. JP, the announcer.
Yeah, gonna go hang out with JP for this last week, and a little shout out JP Sweet, and then he's got a show this summer. He's put together a little team show way up there in northern Minnesota, right on the Canadian border, and his driver's list. I hope people pay attention when it comes out, because it's a long drive up there, but people from the state here, they should definitely go check that show out. It's going to be a good one.
That's cool. And I've never would have known JP if it wasn't for Ultimate Derby and what we do.
Well, that's just kind of the, Neal really referred to it, but honestly, like I went fishing last weekend in Winnipeg with my father-in-law, and then Matt Stenberg, Zach Staver from JYD that used to run Blizzard Bash, and hopefully we might see them at Gold Rush if they get their way. But
really?
Maybe that duo team show, they might sign up for it. Maybe, you never know. See if they get in. But him and Taylor Lascala, but it's just, I was sitting in the fish house chatting with my father-in-law. He's like, "Oh, how you know this guy or this guy?" I'm like, "Oh, Derby." Just we hired a new guy at my job, and he's a local guy, Tyler Miller. He was helping us in the tech line last year, and he puts on some shows up here in northern Minnesota. And
yeah,
father-in-law's like, Derby again. But I think he's learned the kind of like Neal said, like, hey, I'll just open the garage door, come grab that rear end. We have a very trustworthy, good-hearted people, that most people in this sport will give their shirt off their back until you give them a reason not to.
Yeah, that is it's a 100% fact, and I think it's better today than it's ever been. So the buddy, the next time we talk, I will have the Wicked Team Show under my belt. Mr. Cody, who I helped train my way out of Wicked as I was trying to reduce my schedule with being so tied up with my Unified Point Series. Now Cody's been there a few years with Wicked after it's changed hands from Brandon Dixon and that crew to Austin and Madeline Page. And Cody's going to be in Africa. So they reached out, and perfect timing for me. This is the first time I haven't had an announcing derby before now in the year, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. So the podcast
back in the saddle.
Yeah. That the podcast continues to serve me well, being home, and traveling less, but still getting to travel some. And it'll be good to head down to Sturgis. I peeked at the weather and didn't look terrible. I've seen worse. So if it's anywhere close to that, I'm not even 100% sure what teams are running, but it's always a good derby there in Sturgis. So I do look forward to headed down there and working with Wicked.
Awesome. I think I've never made it down there before, but definitely be one a guy should hit up. So
it's in the middle, and I mean, it's a hole in the earth. And if you're not going to have any cell phone service, and the place only, I think, seats a little less than 3,000, but there will be 3,500. I mean, there's people standing on people in there, and the track's always perfect because the dirt stays in there, and it's just a hell of a little. It's a honey hole to have a derby. The only thing they lack a little bit is maybe a little better ventilation and a better sound system. But other than that, if you're just looking to crash cars and party, that's the place.
It's a pretty small facility, so I mean the ventilation is so difficult in those. I mean, that almost takes me back to the original Columbus team shows, and boy, some of them nights there it was rough, very rough.
Yeah. Well, there's a science to it, and Doug Omer, president of the Fair Board, before the county took it over, the property and the Fair Board's out completely, Doug Omer had a science to it. I think he had something figured out. I don't know if they've got the same thing figured out now. It's been a minute since I've been there and worked, but I'll find out soon enough, and we'll do a check-in when we get back together next for, I believe, episode number 32. We should have Not For Hire coming up, so it'll be interesting to see what out of those 4 guys who we can get on. And man, we're rounding third base on having all 12 teams out in the public eye, and then looking to our fearless leader Sam for what's next for those 12 teams. So we're going to be looking at our stock teams, our truck teams. Now we've added some compacts. I mean, it is by then Spring Explosion will be happening. Pecatonica is coming around the corner. So we have a wealth of good times to talk about in the near future.
Yep, looking forward to it. You might even get Parker back next week if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're stuck with me for another week.
Yeah, fans, we tried today, and today we struck out again. But he still does love us, but he's off third shift or second or whatever he's on.
I feel like he's moved on. The relationship has went sideways. We don't text and talk like we used to. It's not the same.
Ever since he won that team show, he don't even know who the hell we are.
No, just moved on. Moved on. Bought new cradles, bought new engines. Just moved on.
All right, fans at home. Dustin Anderson, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Mark Elliott here. WeCrashTV Derby Podcast. We're signing out. We'll see everybody next week for episode number 32.